button I can push.
Are you gonna introduce him?
No.
Oh, I see. Okay, perfect.
There's another microphone that's also just like this.
Okay.
It's on her, but we're gonna try to kill hers when she goes off. And so,
Okay.
because both of them will pick up both of them.
Okay.
And if you want to clip that anywhere,
In my
that's
pocket?
on your shorts. Or, I mean,
So this will be the one I use primarily.
this one's gonna live stream.
Okay.
This one you're gonna need
For out
audience
here.
right here. This one
Okay.
doesn't go to here.
So when you're
nobody's
speaking,
gonna hear it except for live stream.
Okay.
We
That's
couldn't-
okay.
We tried to
Get that
merge
mic.
it.
Yeah.
Stand next to that mic.
yeah,
Okay.
no,
Okay.
you can hold that mic. You
Okay.
can take it off and hold it. You as well. You can take it off and hold it.
Do you
Okay.
really see?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I really like
All right. Do you need me to stand on stage while she speaks, or do you want me to come down?
You're asking a programming question. We don't know or care.
Yeah, you could step out.
Okay.
And
All
then
right.
when she's all wrapped up, you could go back up
Okay.
and close.
The only thing is just know that that mic is live.
Okay.
It's like it's taking both those feeds and making it
Oh,
signal
so
going
we-
out. So
Okay.
if you don't want to be heard, we just need to turn it off.
And that's just this button
And
here.
just hold
Yep.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
And then whenever you want, if you want to go back up there, turn on so that the light's going.
Okay. All right.
For the
Otherwise-
slideshow,
Yeah,
is
I'll
there
be
like a? Are
handling
you gonna
that.
do it?
So
Okay.
If you just say next slide, that's
Okay.
the only way.
I can do
Do you
that.
want me to
could do
stay
that,
on
and then
stage
I've
while
got
she
you
speaks,
from
or do you want me to
Okay.
come down? Okay.
Sounds good.
If you're comfortable, you'll take off your mask so they can see your face.
Okay.
That'll be great. While you're up there. You can sit down or stand up or whatever.
I'm so not used to sitting down, but I will.
Well,
You know.
Up to you. And I cracked the lid on your water, so
Okay.
it would be easy. And it kind of slushes out.
Oh.
So I made a mess. But, we might start a couple minutes late, but I'll give you a plan. Because I'm waiting on them to get their lunches at those other places.
Okay.
It's almost over.
Live streams.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned a lot the last 2 years about live streaming. Think of
Okay, ready.
y'all take the stage when you're ready.
Do we do it together? You gonna go?
Hi, welcome back to the 4th annual Greater Bentonville Area Chamber of Commerce's Rising Leader Conference for Young Women in Grades 8 through 12. Welcome back and welcome to our live stream from the Jones Center, sponsored by AT&T. While you all are finding your seats and rejoining us in your schools and venues all around Northwest Arkansas, we want to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Northwest Arkansas Community College, the Amazium, and AT&T have sponsored all 3 of our on-site locations for today. Tyson and Brightwater, a Center for the Study of Food, have sponsored our meals at NWAC today. Our supporting sponsors are Beaver Water District, First Security Bank, L'Oreal, and PepsiCo. Our production sponsors are Bentonville Schools and the Greater Bentonville Area Chamber of Commerce. Thank you to them all. We hope you have enjoyed the stories from our first 2 speakers, Mariah and Ruby, today. We encourage you to reflect on these stories and determine how you will help others feel like they belong. How will you serve others to give back in your community? And how will you become one of those trusted adults who inspire and assist others? I'm Aiswarya Saravanan. I'm a senior from Bentonville High School, and I'm also the captain of the debate team as well as a part of Ignite Medical Sciences and a nursing assistant at Northwest Hospital. Here with me today at the Jones Center are students from the Don Tyson School of Innovation in Springdale and Bentonville High School. Our speaker from the Jones Center is Christina Hamilton. Mrs. Hamilton was also the new girl in town just a few years ago. She moved here to follow her husband's employment, but she also came here with 2 young daughters. Since then, in a very short time, her oldest daughter really found her way, found a new sport, love, and now plays collegiate volleyball. Mrs. Hamilton is going to share some of her story and her lessons learned on this journey with 2 young girls. Please help me welcome the principal of the largest elementary school in Bentonville School District, with over 1,000 tiny little people in her charge, Mrs. Christina Hamilton.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here today. This is probably the most out of my element that I have ever been. I have always said, I'm scared of high school kids, which I have 1,000 elementary students, which can also be very scary. So talking to 170 kindergartners is way more my comfort level, but I am excited to be here today with you guys to share my story and to also encourage you to dream, but also maybe motivate you and encourage you to explore more than anything. Next slide. As she mentioned, I am pretty new to Northwest Arkansas. We have been here probably 8 years now. We moved here from Texas. I have 2 daughters. My husband, Sparky, used to play football for the University of Arkansas, so moving to Northwest Arkansas was not new to him. He had been here for a while in college. So for us, it was a journey. So being the new person in town, being the new students in a new school, took some getting used to. I have been in education for 20 years. I started as a kindergarten teacher. I taught 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, and then I became an instructional coach where I was able to mentor teachers and assist them with curriculum and instruction. After that, I became an assistant principal, and now I am a principal. What has she mentioned before, I do have 2 daughters. They both attend Bentonville schools. Trinity actually is a senior this year in Bentonville High School, and Tristan is my youngest, although she's the tallest one in the picture. She actually attends Brightfield Middle School. So just to tell you a little bit about my story, as a principal at Bentonville Schools, I do have one of the largest here in the state, Willowbrook Elementary. We do have about 1,000 kiddos. It is something to see if you've never been and seen 1,000 elementary students in one place. It is amazing, but it's also scary. But they're a lot of fun. And so one of the reasons why I enjoy being around the younger ones is because I kind of like to be a little goofy. I'm a little fun as well. Try to make things really informal with them. And so they always call me the cool one because I'm the one who likes to have fun. Can you go back one more slide? Thank you. Just to tell you a little bit about Trinity's journey. She is currently being recruited for volleyball. She has accepted, or she's verbally committed to the University of Central Arkansas, and it was a bit of a journey for her. So it was lots of sacrifices that I want to talk to you today that she had to make to be able to do that. So this is her senior year. She's pretty excited to be going to the University of Central Arkansas in Conway, but it was also a struggle just being a teenager. Trinity is pretty young. She's only 17 as a senior, so moving to Arkansas put her a year behind. She actually would have already have graduated had we stayed in Texas, but she is on the younger end. So everyone started driving before she was able to drive. They're attending parties that she wasn't able to attend because she is the younger one. So she has had some struggles as well. But I want to be able to tell you how she is doing fine. She's loving where she's getting ready to go and the journey that's ahead of her. My hope today is that I'll be able to leave you with some points, some things to take with you. I don't think that my story is too unique or outside of the box. It's pretty normal, but it's also, we have a lot to be thankful for, a lot of things that I've achieved that I didn't see coming. When I was in high school, I don't think I ever dreamed at all about anything. I don't think I had any dreams. I had no idea what I wanted to be when I went to college. Most of the time I had other adults who told me what I was going to be. My grandparents told me I was going to be a nurse. My mom told me I was going to be a teacher. So I decided to do the opposite and not do what anyone told me that I was going to do. I went and got a degree from Sam Houston State University in criminal justice, and I started working in probation and in the court system. I learned very quickly that that was not the life I wanted. We had an incident where I was able to shadow a juvenile probation officer, and it got kind of scary real quick. And immediately I thought, nope, I'm gonna go be that teacher that my mama told me that I was gonna be. So I did. I changed my career path like midstream. Although I did learn a lot along the way, I don't regret any of the decisions that I made coming out of high school. And choosing a career that I later decided to change was probably the best thing that I could have done. I consider myself to be pretty flexible. I'm able to see things in a different way, not just one way, because I've been in a different field. And also being with my husband, as long as I've been with him, he comes from the business world. And so I'm able to see some things from that side. We actually met in high school and have been together ever since. I just said it's because he didn't want to get rid of me, but he stayed close. I went to Sam Houston State University. He went to the University of Arkansas, and even through college, we were able to still stay together. And he just was a big motivator as well. I'm ready for the next slide now. Thank you. So a couple of things I want to leave with you today. I have 6 points that I want to give to you that you could use in anything that you decide to do as far as a career. I would say dream early. Don't let anyone tell you what it is you need to do, but also listen as well, if that makes sense. You want to hear and explore all the possibilities. So it starts very early with the little things. The little things matter, just the little interest that you have. The sparks of exploration that you have that you are curious about are also part of those little things that will take you to wherever you end up in life. So thinking about what's important to you, thinking about what you like to do, the things that you enjoy, your hobbies. Those journeys, those interests can also spark creativity for you to be something else. What do you care about? The things that mean the most to you. I know I have a lot of interests myself. I've always enjoyed working with children. When I was in high school, I didn't see this back then, but now as an adult, I do. When I was in high school, I used to work as a camp counselor, and I looked forward to working that summer camp every single summer. I don't even know why. I never had the interest to become an educator when I was in high school, but just that moment of working with kids gave me a gift. It gave me a talent. It allowed me to be able to share with those who were younger than me and also grow. I just like having fun with kiddos, and I've been doing that all my life. I had no idea that I would end up having a career where I get to do that for a living. So that little moment in my life is my little thing that I had no idea was going to spark my career later on. Next slide, please. The second thing I want to give you is attitude is everything, and that can be good or bad. Whether you have a bad attitude about something or a good attitude about something, that's going to determine where you end up. So your philosophy is what you believe, right? It's what you really are passionate about. It's what you care for. I truly believe that any child can learn. It does not matter where they come from. It does not matter what they look like. That is my philosophy that in turn gives me my attitude. So when I walk into my school building every day with all of those students, my attitude is that anyone can learn. So it doesn't matter how hard the day is or what obstacles have come our way, because there are a lot of things that are outside of our control that kind of seep into our building and we have to deal with them. It creates the attitude that we can keep doing this because I know that we can reach every child. Your attitude is what's going to determine your actions. So I'm able to push forward and move the way that I know I need to for our students because of my attitude. So those actions, those things that I do every single day to determine that. So one thing that I do every single morning, I have not skipped not one beat. Every single morning at school, I am in the car rider line. Whether it is raining or it is cold, it doesn't matter. I've had other people tell me, well, you're the principal, you really don't have to go out there and do that every single morning because it's not easy. But oh yes, I do, because that's my opportunity where I get to see them jump out of the car. I can see who's crying, I can see who's happy, I can see which parents that I need to talk to. But then it also makes me very visible. So that is an action that I take very seriously. I'm doing car duty every single morning, and those actions also lead to my life. So throughout my school journey, throughout my school day, the parents know who I am because they see me every morning. They know that that's the principal. Although for a week or so they didn't know because I was doing car duty every morning. But that is an action that I take pretty serious. So when you think about the things that you do on a daily basis, think about where it's going to land you, where you're going to end. When I was in high school, I didn't take it very seriously, to be very transparent and honest with you. I had my mom telling me, you need to fill out this scholarship application. You need to do this. You need to do that. And I just was being a kid, right? I was 16, 17, going to college because they told me I had to, not really because I wanted to. And until I was able to see, oh, this is where I can be. This is what I like to do, finding those interests, that's when I became interested in college. But my initial interest into college wasn't there. So I didn't have those actions to begin with, so I didn't have a lot of options to choose from when it came to selecting a college. I decided to stay close to home. I went to Sam Houston State University, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hours away from the East Texas town where I lived, which is Lufkin. So it was very easy to get into, it was very close to get home. I didn't really explore and go outside of my comfort zone at all because I was very shy. But those actions I don't regret them, although now as an adult, I do think about what if I was close to home that I kind of thought would be a good fit for her, but I wanted her to choose. She was looking more out of state, kind of far away, but thought that that's what she needed to do because that's what a lot of other coaches were telling her she needed to do. Turns out she ended up loving UCA and cannot wait to get started there. And one of the things she says a lot is, man, I wish I would have looked at them sooner, or I wish I would have done that earlier, because it would have saved her a lot of stress in the end. Looking at the bigger schools, she sometimes would get a little stressed out about, okay, I haven't heard from this coach in a while. He hasn't called me back, or he hasn't sent an email. So she just kind of sees now that it could have relieved some stress and some worry that she had, that, okay, I wouldn't have had to have this had I kind of explored and looked a little differently as far as actions go. But it is something, I'm going to send you a quote here in a second. Can you go to the next slide? That goes along with attitude. It says, your attitude determines both your simplest and most complicated actions, from the way you carry yourself to the way you deal with hard times. And so this one makes me think about my daughter the most, because she spent a lot of time training for volleyball, but she doesn't always spend a lot of time with the books. So she has learned very quickly that, okay, I've got to make some priorities for some things that aren't always fun, to do the things that I care most about. So the simplest and the most complicated, for her, it is no big deal to hit the gym and go exercise. For me, that's a very complicated task. I don't want to do that. But she can do it simple, easy breezy, no problem. Studying for the ACT, not so much. It's like pulling teeth to get her to look at that. But however, she's seeing that, all right, in order for me to be able to make sure that I can maintain this scholarship that has been offered to me, I've got to do this. So she's finding ways to make it more important, to make it a priority, to make it to give time to it. So that means sometimes not hitting the gym or leaving a little early just so I can study is something that she's finding out as a student athlete. And if any of you are involved in any extracurricular activities, you can find that sometimes it is a struggle. Sometimes it's that hard balance between, okay, I want to go have fun, but oh, I really need to get this done. And then we can procrastinate sometimes, and we're not proactive, and then it creeps up on us, and then we're stressed, and we're crunch time trying to cram something in as far as learning goes. So it's really just the simplest things to the complicated things, with your attitude to start, that's going to get you where you need to go. Next slide. Your circumstances aren't you. This particular statement hits really close to home for me. I didn't come from a family that was poor. I didn't come from a family that was considered rich. We were kind of in the middle, average. Both of my parents went to work every single day. But at the same time, they couldn't miss a day of work either. Missing a day of work meant that we were going to miss out on something else. I was able to go on family vacations. I had lots of friends who were not able to go on family vacations. There was a point when I was in high school that I couldn't understand why I had certain friends that would come and go. And I began to take it a little personal, and I thought, well, is it me? Is it something I'm doing? Like what, what's wrong? And then I had a realization. All of my friends, no one had two parents that were together. I was the only one. So they either came from a single mother household, or they were being raised by their grandparent or an uncle or an aunt, but they didn't have two parents in the home, and I did. So coming to my house looked a little different, felt a little different. It was pretty determined that, oh, you'll be able to do whatever it is you want to do, which we didn't have a ton of money, but it was the support. And I didn't see that when I was younger, that, oh, this is a really good thing for me. I think I took it for granted at the time. and didn't take advantage of some of that family time that I could have had having both parents in the home. Later, while I was in college, my parents divorced, which I thought was like, oh my gosh, the end of they'd always been together. But my brother, I have a younger brother, he's about 5 years younger than me, but he looks way older than I do. And they always think he's the older one. And he was in high school at the time of the divorce. And I remember watching him grow in the home with them getting separated, and seeing some of my friends from when I was in high school. And he and I both took very different paths. I was almost out of college by the time my parents divorced. He was still in high school. And we really had to do some encouraging for one another. I had to make sure that he didn't feel like he had to go a certain route because of what was happening to him personally and to our family. It was really, really easy to let it affect you, kind of taking on the perception of what I should do versus what I want to do. There were lots of things he wanted to do, but he wanted to please both of our parents, which was really hard because they both had different opinions about what we should do and where we should go, and going to school and not going to school, and going here and not going there. And so you hear all of that in your head as a young teenager, and it's just a lot of white noise. And then you have no idea what to decide or what to do. And so helping him through that, I was able to kind of be a listening ear, but also provide some guidance that, you know what, you can do whatever you want to do. And I would say the same thing to you all, being in high school, when you get ready to graduate, you can do whatever you want to do. Your circumstances aren't you. On the flip side of that, you can have everything that you need as a teenager and still go a different route or go down a different path. So your present circumstances may be affecting you, but they aren't who you are, and they don't determine what you will someday be. There is still an invisible you, the person you will be someday. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, but someday. And even as an adult, this statement is still true to me. I don't think that I'm done at all. Now, I have no idea what my future holds. I'm 40 years old and I'm the principal of an elementary school, and you would think that, oh yes, I'm an adult, I'm done, this is it. But I really don't think I'm done. I don't think I'm done. I think I have more to do, but I have no idea what that is. And so I hope that inspires you all to continue dreaming and redreaming. So just because you think you've hit that mark, you've got what you wanted, there's still more that you can get. One of the hopes that I have for Trinity as she goes on to play volleyball for the University of Central Arkansas is that she doesn't think that she is done. It's just a start, but there are so many different endings to so many different stories that you have, and each story has a time limit, and you'll come to the end of that time limit and it's time to move on to something else, which is kind of exciting for me. So point 4, success is built on failure. So, we got loud planes here, huh? Okay. Failure is another word for learning. So this took me a while to accept. Being young, you always want to win. You always want to be in front. You always want to be on top. But that doesn't always happen. Sometimes you start new things and you fail. So backing up to when I got my degree in criminal justice, I didn't consider it a failure or a waste of time because I was able to learn from everything that I learned from that experience. I really thought that I was going to be one of those detectives on like CSI or NCIS or, I don't know, Criminal Minds. I loved criminology. And I loved forensic science. And so I really thought that that's what I wanted to do. And that I wanted to work with at-risk youth, changing the world, and I was going to be the one who saved them all, right? But that did not happen. I learned really quick that that was not my gift or my talent. When I made that decision to switch, I remember it was really hard. I had already received my degree, and I was going to have to go back to school again to get my degree in education. And then I went back to school again to get a teaching certification. And then I went back to school again to get a master's degree in education. So while it was a lot of work, I do look at, oh, I really could have saved myself a lot of money and headache, you know, had I maybe made a different choice. But I learned so much from that change. Something else, I've also explored lots of other different opportunities. At one point, I thought I was going to sell Avon, and then there was another point I thought I was going to sell insurance. Obviously, none of that worked, because here I am. I didn't sell one policy, y'all. Not one. Complete failure. However, I did learn a lot as far as my own personal insurance needs, what to buy and what not to buy, and what will suck up all your money, and then how to keep your money and how to gain money. So I did learn a lot from it. I spent some money trying to learn that, but I don't consider anything that I've ever done as a complete failure at all. So as you are exploring and looking at what interests you have, don't be afraid of the failure piece of that. Don't be afraid of not getting where you want to be with it. Because if you fail, it doesn't mean you lose. It just means you learn from it. It's what you do with the failure. Am I going to have different actions because of the failure? Am I going to change my attitude because of the failure? And honestly, failure equals growth as well. Because from the failure, you're able to learn, you're able to grow, and you're able to take on new challenges and new experiences, new learning. So don't be afraid of the failure. Failure equals growth. All right, so habits are powerful. This kind of goes along with the other slide. So good or bad, habits can run your life. So it doesn't matter if it's a habit that's good or if it's a habit that's bad. It's going to run your life whether you want it to or not. So trying to be proactive, looking for the good habits that are going to add value to your life in the long run, are the ones you want to stick to. That's not to say that sometimes we won't make a mistake and pick up a bad habit. I love a bag of Doritos. It's really not a good habit, but I am working on that. Next slide. So you are always learning. So the earlier you invest in your dream, the greater your reward. That is absolutely true. And on the flip side of that, it's not too late either. So even if you are graduating this year or you won't graduate until next year, it's not too late to dream, is what I'm saying to all of you. It's never too late. So you take advantage of all of your opportunities, no matter what, no matter how scary they may be, no matter who is saying, no, you can't do that, because I've had lots of people tell me what I can't do. You very rarely run into the people who tell you what you can do. And when you do, those are the people you need to pull closer to you, because they're in your corner. They're a part of your team. So you surround yourself with a positive team. Being in high school, you guys today are dealing with some things that I never had to think about or even imagine when I was in high school. So you have a lot of pressure. The social media, you have a lot of things you're trying to live up to. But really try to find those people who are in your corner. Try to pull the ones closer to you, who you know have your best interests at heart, who have your back. Be ready to adjust though. Sometimes the course that you have decided you're going to take doesn't always end in the way that you think it should, or take you down the road that you would like. So you want to make sure that, you know what, be flexible. Be ready to fail, pretty much. I know that's really hard to think about because no one wants to fail, but it is something that is going to happen. And every single one of us here in this room at some point has either faced failure or we will in some sense. So just be ready for that. Some sacrifices that Trinity has had to make on her journey. I mean, we've missed a couple of proms because she was at a tournament out of state, or she was on a recruiting trip. She's missed some parties with friends, birthday events, family get-togethers. So there have been some sacrifices that she, at the time, it was devastating. I don't know what it would feel like, but I'm sure you all know if you bought that homecoming dress just to find out this coach is asking you to come down for the weekend and you don't want to turn it down because that could be a scholarship. So having to say no to a homecoming dance to go on a recruiting trip is pretty stressful for a teenager, as you can imagine. But those are some of the choices that she has had to make. But just always keeping an open mind. I do admire her in, you know what, she tries to find the fun when she can. She tries to relax when she can, but then understands that I also got to put in the work where the work is needed. I hope that I don't have a very intricate story by no means, but I hope that you all are able to glean something from it. Being at Willowbrook Elementary, one of the things that I have learned and have had to adapt to is working with different types of people from all over. I am from Texas, and I have probably 70 staff members who are also from all over. So being able to adapt, I always thought that if I did become a principal, never in a million dreams would I thought I'd be in Bentonville, Arkansas. I didn't even know where Bentonville was, to be honest. Once we were told we were moving here, I just imagined cows and pastures and do they have a mall? Like, that was the only thing I could think. Like, I had no idea where Bentonville was. And then when I got here, I thought, oh, I could do this. So, but never did I think that my journey here in Bentonville would lead me to be a principal here. I totally started over when I came to Bentonville. I went back in the classroom as a teacher and have come all the way up back to being a principal. So you never know where your journey is going to take you. You never know when your journey is going to start over. Like Dr. Morrow said, you've moved several times. It will happen. Don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to step out of the box and try new things and new opportunities, because it may take you to your dream, and it may take you to the dream that you didn't even think you had or that you even knew about. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Mrs. Hamilton. That was wonderful. Do we have any questions for her?
They're shy and hungry.
No, it's about that time.
It's lunch.
All right. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you all learned about belonging, fitting in, finding your vocation, finding your hobbies, accepting support, and giving support in an interconnected community. We're so appreciative of each guest for sharing all of your wonderful stories, and we hope you all will take the time to reflect and study how their words can inspire your success. Once again, we want to thank the Greater Bentonville Area Chamber of Commerce for their dedication to this conference over 4 years. Thank you to them all, and thank you so much for being here today.
Yay.